What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about two different cryptos in this video. Two cryptos that I think have immense potential to see some fantastic gains between now and the end of this cycle. What do I mean by fantastic gains? I mean anything from a 50x to a 100x, a multi-100x. Any of those are possible outcomes. Hit the like button, subscribe. Of course, we're talking about XPR Network and B3. Those are the two tokens that we'll be talking about today. XPR will be the first one, and B3 will be the second one. The purpose of this video is to do technical analysis and give a general price forecast as to where I think these coins are going to go. So let's get started. Let's not waste any more time. Here we are on this day, the 16th day of October. You're down 21% essentially. As of this month, right? Here you are at $0.0049, 15 days, 9 hours left in this month for XPR. You're actually up a little bit today. You're up about 4%, 4.6%, which is nice to see. You're one of the few tokens that's actually down at lower levels from where it was on the 10th of October, which is pretty crazy too, to consider that you dropped at such a modest degree. You only saw a 10% drop. There's no massive wick to the downside here. It's as if right now where you are, I mean, you're literally just right at the lows of this, and you're actually holding up better than the average crypto. Even though you're down lower, even though you move down lower, you're actually holding up better than the average crypto. It's kind of interesting to see. XPR doing its thing, definitely, I wouldn't say detached from the market, but showing that it has strength, that it's not just one of those coins, just like every other coin that moved down on the 10th, 50% or more, right? The average altcoin, again, you guys, on the 10th moved down from a high to a low that day, 50%. You moved down 16%. That's not even close. It's still a big deal. You still dropped a lot, but it's not even close. Looking at this here on the 1 hour time frame, and maybe we can use an exchange so that we get some volume. What's the one with most volume? Probably KuCoin. I would think probably KuCoin. Looking at this here on the 1 hour time frame, I have to admit it is a bit wonky, the price action, but it's okay. I would think that you have found support. I mean, this could be your low. Maybe you go a little bit lower, and you know that remains to be seen. But looking at the 1 hour RSI, I think things look bullish right now. The stochastics make me think that you could come down a little bit, and the MACD, who really cares? It's the 1 hour time frame. It doesn't matter that much. With all this wonkiness, I wouldn't be surprised if we did pull back a little bit, perhaps look for a higher low, or maybe even a slightly higher low, something like that. We could go lower, of course, but I'm not seeing that happen right now. That's not what I'm calling for. So let's talk about a low to high here. The expectation then might be that we go to about, I mean, as little as 0.0486, which could be where you find support. That is, after all, right there at the 382. Oftentimes enough, you do wick a little bit below this level too. So that is right here at the low ends from the 10th day of October. So very possible area to find support. You know, this wick came all the way down here on that day, and that is just below your golden ratio. That is kind of the next area to consider, which would be about 0.0047, it looks like, to 0.0047. So it's 0.0477 to 0.0475. We're going to put a line right in the middle there and just say, you know, something in that zone lines up well with this area of support, and that area of support as well could be sensible to go down there. And then, of course, the 786, 886 zone, we could put a line right in the middle of there as well. You know, we take away the fibs, and you can see that you found resistance here. Perhaps you do go all the way down there and you find a slightly higher low, something like that, and then we find support and move up. But any of these targets, I think, are applicable. They're very acceptable. Looking at this now, it's really hard to tell how far down you're going to go, but I would expect that you come down a little bit, right? At least here, but it's very possible that you do go down, you know, a little bit below 2.048, and don't be discouraged if you do. At this point in time, I'm not expecting lower lows. There wasn't really an immense amount of volume that came here on this lower low, so I don't think that we want to go lower. I think that was a fake out, and we're getting the proper reaction from that. Although I will say this 4 hour candle moving up like this and then coming back down is a bit, I don't want to say unnerving. It's not conducive to the idea that we do move higher. That we have seen candles like this, and then we did move higher before. The last candle, to be fair, that we had like this, the last two, they actually did promote downside price action. So don't be afraid. Even if we do see lower lows in this, it's not a big deal. XPR can see lower lows and everything's fine. In fact, if we go lower than anything that I've talked about so far in this video, 0.0045 to 0.0428, those areas await to hold you as support. So even if you do go lower, not a big deal. Who cares? Okay. Don't fret. Don't worry too much. Right. 4 hour time frame here. Rejecting the 50. Very bearish overall. The 4 hours definitely making me think that we could go lower. The stochastics here are bullish, but you're at an area where you've rejected before a couple of times, and you have higher highs in the stochastics while having lower highs in the price. That's not a good thing. The MACD looks positive. You know, the stochastics and the MACD both look positive. They're the two things going against the RSI that would suggest that we could go higher from here. I just don't like how we closed this 4-hour candle. And again, that doesn't condemn you. You can move up afterwards, but it's just not a friendly candle. It makes me think that we could move lower. I'm having a hard time deciding with XPR. Are we going to hold this as the low or not? If we hold it as the low, you'll find support at one of those 3 areas that I talked about already. But if we do, let's just say if we get below 0047, I would start to consider lower lows being a possibility. And again, if we see lower lows, it's not a big deal. You'll just find support at 0045 to 00428. Okay, nothing crazy. Nothing too crazy from here. A lot more tame even with that than the average coin this market. Oh my god, I didn't even see this. Oh, this is nice. You've already had your move though. You know, do you guys see what it is? Hold on. It's the bullish divergence here. You've got a low, a higher low, and a higher low. I didn't even see that. Normally I look for that first thing, but I didn't even see that. Bullish divergence there on the RSI. Lower lows in the price, you do have that. However, the move up that we've just seen was that bullish divergence coming to fruition. And really what you have outside of this bullish divergence is a higher high here with a lower high there. It's hidden bearish divergence. You could continue onward and upward, but if you go lower, this is a bit of a point I would say in the bull's favor, in the idea that you don't go below this low. Even if you do, it's okay. You can further that divergence. You could get triple bullish divergence for all I care. It's not a big deal. But soon enough, you will be finding support and you will be moving higher. That's what I am seeing here looking at the 4-hour time frame. I just wouldn't be surprised if we came down a little bit. Looking at the daily time frame here, bouncing off the oversold zone, very bearish daily time frame here, and even in the midst of your very bearish look, you're not really doing anything too terrible to the downside. The stochastics are bearish and the MACD is bearish. They're all bearish right now. Not really indicative of a low, but that's okay. The 4-hour is more indicative of a low, and I'm assuming that over the coming days we might start to see some signals like that. Low to high here. It would make sense looking at it from this kind of perspective on the fibs. It would make sense that we go down to 00453, which actually is the exact same target as your 1272 here. It literally lines up perfectly with that 1272. So 00453, an area to consider. The lowest that I think as far as targets go that we could consider would be 0039 to 00362. That is the lowest target that I would give us, right? Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'm not saying we go down here. I'm just saying if any of my low targets are not met with support and instead we excel through those targets, I would very much believe that we go to 0039420 to 0039620, or sorry, 003620, somewhere in that area for support at the absolute worst, okay? Which on the bright side, that's about a 20% drop from here. Okay, I guess it's not that bright. I thought it was a smaller drop. 20% is still pretty intense. I don't think we go down that low, but that's your worst case scenario. Is 20%, right? That's a 20% drop, your worst case scenario. I highly doubt we go below there. If we do, oh man, you got problems. You don't have problems. And again, the reason we're talking about it is not because I think you're going down here. I'm just talking about it because if we do go down here, you don't have problems. It's not a big deal. You have problems if we go below. But if you stop and you find support here, even though it would be a dramatic 20% drop from here, it's not a big deal. You can find support. It's very healthy to find support at the golden ratio. Okay. Looking at this on a daily time frame here, zooming out a little bit, looking at the indicators again, everything's pretty damn bearish. I'm not really getting any signs of a turnaround other than the fact that, you know, once you're oversold here in your stochastics, you're at a low point. Here, same thing. Here right now, you're probably at a low point. This is the lowest reading that you've seen in your RSI, you know, since June. So you've definitely got to be at a low point here, if not near it. I would think that you do continue to move higher very, very soon. And if you move lower, we've gone over all that. Let's talk about the upside now, okay? Because there is a lot of upside. You have a massive double bottom, okay? Absolutely massive double bottom. You've played out from this very well. Very, very well. Holding structure at key areas, right? Support where resistance once was, where resistance was back here, and support was back here. Key areas of support right there. It's actually pretty good. We look at that there. I mean, it's perfect. It's literally perfect. I don't think you found a double top. I know it kind of looks like that right now, but I think you're just consolidating before the move up. Let's see if I can find an example of this. Not really. Can't really find an example of this here. That's okay. It's just too new of a chart, so there's not enough examples. But just trust when I tell you this is not a double top. I think that you are going to break out. Really, I think this is just a bullish phase of consolidation off of this move here. And you're likely going to see higher targets. Soon enough, you should be reaching for the next levels, right? You found resistance here, right at this area of support, becoming resistance now, right at this area of resistance, becoming resistance now. You'll move up to these targets where you found significance, resistance, and support, all-time highs and beyond, right? You're going to move up to all these areas and beyond. This is not the all-time history, is it? This is not the all-time history for XPR. That's right, because we were looking at something with volume. So something in this area here to maybe this area here, or even at the most this area here. We absolutely can go beyond that. I say at the most. I'm just talking about this next like phase, right? I think that this next phase we could stop here, here, or here. That's at about 1.48 cents to 2.4 cents to 4.25 cents. And once we're done with this area, once we break out of that, we should see an overall extension being met from this high to this low. I wouldn't be surprised overall if XPR right now here at 00488 was on a path higher that took it to 17 cents and beyond, which is pretty spectacular. I mean, I truly wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, XPR was at a whole 33x higher in price than where it is now. Again, this area that we're focusing on with all these white lines, this is just the next stopping point. Okay, the next stopping point. What do I mean by that, right? Like here, you moved up, that was a stopping point, and then you moved up higher, right? Very long stopping point here, moved up here, here's a stopping point, and then you're going to move up higher, here's a stopping point, and then you're going to move up higher, right? Something like that. That'd be my thoughts. Weekly time frame, the RSI looks positive overall, very bullish in structure. The stochastics, when they get this far separated from each other, typically you do find support, and being at the oversold zone, I would think that you find support here as well. I would like it if you close the week here or a little bit lower, or maybe just around this area. It can be higher as well. If the reason why is because then you're finding support right here at the oversold zone. You'd be finding support right here at the 50 with a higher low in your RSI. I think this is a totally appropriate area to close for XPR this week. Hopefully that's exactly what you do. And then as you break up again, as you start to move higher, I doubt this zone holds you down as resistance, so you're going to move up immediately to these next target areas. When I say immediately, I mean like it's going to be immediate. Like you're going to see this thing teleport right up there. Taking the highs from back here in October of 2021 to the lows here in October of 2023, 2 years later, high to low. These lines don't really overlap with anything. The only one that makes the most sense to me would be the 2.47 cent area, because it's right here in between the 786 886. I feel pretty confident that that's the area that you would move to next before consolidating and then continuing higher. By the end of the year, you should at least, at a minimum, be around like 2.4 cents, 2.5 cents at a minimum by the end of the year. But I think by the end of the year, you really could be reaching for higher prices. We could see a 5-cent target and beyond, new relative highs compared to this. And you know, I don't want to jinx it, but it is possible. You could see some crazy growth, you guys, by the end of the year. We could see something all the way up to 17 cents. If we don't see that by the end of the year, fret not, that's okay. We could see it, and very likely would then see it sometime in Q1 or Q2 of 2026. At the end of the day, a 17-cent price to about an 80-cent price, even upwards toward $1, is what I could see XPR achieving by the end of this cycle. If we're looking at XPR here, XPR on CoinMarketCap, you have about a $137 million market cap. So achieving a 200x is very possible. It's absolutely very possible. A 100x would put you at about a, what would that be? That'd be about a $13 billion market cap, right? Yeah, 100x would. So 200x would put you at about a $26-30 billion market cap. It's a high market cap, but it's very attainable. It's definitely attainable, especially for something that's, you know, in its second cycle. It did have one bull market already where it didn't really move too much. You had your bear market. Now that you're in your second cycle, I think these areas are definitely achievable. And typically, whenever you do see new highs cycle after cycle, you do actually go to that golden ratio zone, if not the 1-4-1-4. So I'm very confident that we will see a price above 32 cents by the end of the cycle. At the most, I think $1 psychological resistance. It's right there near the golden ratio too, something like that. And at the end of the day, I think I've said everything I need to for XPR. So we're just going to leave it off on that note. Overall, very positive looking weekly chart. I mean, you look more postured to go. what's the right phrase here that I'm looking for? I can't get it right. You just look better. Your chart looks better. The structurally speaking, you look better than the average altcoin since 2023. Right? Most coins don't look like this since 2023. They look more boring. They don't look like this. So overall, I think that you'll continue to outperform the markets, and you'll be on your way to new all-time highs probably in 2026. That would be my thoughts. I think that we'll be around this high or above this high by the end of the year, and then 2026 comes along and you're seeing new all-time highs. Remember, from this exact price area before, it took you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and you went all the way up to this high here. Right? 5 weeks later. And I'm going to put it down a little bit. 5 weeks from now, let's see. Let's get you right on. Is that right? It is right there. 5 weeks from now would put us in about the end of November. So we could be at new all-time highs by the end of this year. It is possible. But I think more so that'll be reserved for 2026. Hold on. There's a hair in my mouth. I think I got it. Yeah. Looks like, I don't know whose hair that is. It's a short hair. I have some short hairs, but it's a little bit longer than that. Maybe it's a cat hair. It's probably a cat hair. Damn cats. Those dang cats. B3 is the next one that we're going to talk about. XPR, looking good, looking fine. I'm not worried about you at all. B3, however, you're in trouble. No, B3 looks good, actually. B3 is kind of the opposite of XPR. It's actually moving up. I think you're handling this drop better than the average coin by far. Now, you did get a little bit more of a lick, didn't you? 30% down from a high to a low. You dropped an overall 44%. The average altcoin dropped about 50%. So you're doing what the average altcoin's doing. However, if we put on the others chart, which is the index for the average altcoin, we look at this here and we zoom it in, whatever, to make it more palpable, more easier to look at. We can see here that you are actually having a better time than the average altcoin right now. The average altcoin for the last few days has been moving down. You've actually been moving up. And B3, you guys, B3 has been on sale for a very long time. What happened on the 10th was just an extension of this massive sale. And being on Coinbase, the exchange that has the largest volume for you, right? This exchange has more volume than anything else that's listed you. Oh, it's on Binance now. Oh, I didn't even know that. When did that happen? Oh, that happened a while ago. Huh, I didn't even notice that. I didn't know that. B3, anyways, B3 being on Coinbase, it's the largest exchange with spot volume, I should say. You didn't get a lot of volume on the 10th. You actually have more volume over the past 2 days than you did on the 10th. A lot of volume, or more volume above average volume at the lows. What's that tell you? There's probably some acquisition going on. B3 is a really interesting project, you guys. And while the price action is very disappointing, don't think of this as like a project that's only moved down its whole existence, though that's exactly what it is. It's moved down its whole existence, essentially. It's only been around since February, right? So we don't have earlier timeframes to gauge it off of, like how high is it up from 2023 lows or 2022 lows. We don't have that, right? It came out not even at that high of a valuation. We look at it now. Let's just see B3. It's still at a very low valuation, $46 million, and consistently good volume, right? I really do think that this thing is largely undervalued. I expect big things from this coin. I think that it's a sleeper, and it's been testing us. It's been trying our patience. That's for damn sure. But this drop, if this drop happened and the rest of the market didn't dump, I'd be concerned. The fact that this happened with the rest of the market getting all shaken up, okay, whatever. It's unfortunate, but it happens. You take your licks and you run with them. And this thing's running with them. It's actually coming back, right? Most coins right now are not down 17% from their highs on the 10th. Let's just look. Let's see, actually. Most coins right now from their highs on the 10th, they're down 23%. 23%, yeah. Which that's not that big of a difference, but it is a difference nonetheless. B3 is outperforming the average altcoin right now with this drop. That's good to see. The coins that are doing well right now might do well later. That's the kind of the idea there, right? Daily time frame, getting oversold. We've been oversold once, twice, 3 times now. You're having a proper reaction out of this. I want to see you continue to grow. I think that'd look nice. 1 hour time frame here. Very bullish on the RSI, actually. Stochastics far separated from each other, right at the oversold zone. I think that this is a good area to probably expect a bounce. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. I'm actually bullish on B3 right here. I don't think, I mean, maybe you come down a little bit, but let's just look at how you've done here. So from a low to a high right here, you went down to your golden ratio. You actually front ran your golden ratio. Look at that. You tried to get there, but you just couldn't do it. That's a very bullish sign right there. That's actually really nice. Low here to a high here. You did it again. You bounced right off the golden ratio twice in a row. There is some acquisition going on here. People are paying attention. The bots are active, or traders who have fibs are active. Maybe we go down to the golden ratio here at 0.021, but again, pay attention. There could be some front running. If you're planning on buying there, I would say screw it, just buy here. That difference is not that big. I think that B3 will probably continue to move up over the coming days. Just looking at this right here. Time will tell. We'll see how it goes. I'd like to see more volume come in, but at the moment I'm bullish. I would say I'm bullish. The RSI looks bullish. The stochastics, while bearish at the moment, are actually at a point to bounce, and I think that you're in an environment that's healthy enough to see that bounce come into play. Whenever you flipped red last time, you're at your low points here. You're flipping red now. You're probably at your low points. The time before that, when you flipped red, you're at your low points here. I think that we're near an area where it's acceptable to accept a bounce or expect a bounce. The 4-hour time frame, I don't like that the RSI has rejected the overbought zone, especially after being oversold. We don't like that, but overall, you do look better, I think, than the average coin does right now. That's nice to see. Stochastics coming down, but overall very bullish. Come down a little bit, bounce off the 50, come back up, right? That makes sense for slightly lower prices. The MACD is about to cross above the 0. This is a very bullish environment to be in, you guys. I really do think B3 might dress to impress over the coming days. We'll see. This could be one to watch over the coming days and weeks, right? It'll be like Zora or Zcash. It'll stand out. It'll move up. Everything else will be moving down or being stagnant. And people will be like, why didn't I buy B3 down here? I'm going to buy it up here. And then that's whenever it'll move back down. I really wouldn't be surprised at all if and when B3 breaks out here. If we move up, we break out of this downtrend, and we'll probably run all the way up to areas of significance to find resistance, right? Which, in my opinion, would be at a minimum here, at a maximum here, somewhere between about 0.043 to 0.064. So in other words, I guess what I'm saying here is that I think B3 has some serious gains to be had over the coming days, and certainly by the end of this month. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw 100% to a 200% move. That's the expectation. Let's look and see here from a high to a low. Very near your golden ratio, maybe even higher. Maybe even higher. But this might be reserved for maybe not the end of October, but sometime in November. Certainly, once you make this move, I would expect some consolidation to take place, right? You're probably not just going to blast through the golden ratio on the first attempt. Some consolidation to take place, but then you'll continue to rally, I think, going into November. Who knows, guys? I mean, by the end of November, B3 could really be at new all-time highs. It really could be. I would think by the end of November, B3 is at least worth 1.1 cent to 1.5 cent, if not something that is above 2 cents. I mean, it's hard to say. It's hard to say, man. By the end of the year, B3 could really be at 4 cents to 10 cents. It could be somewhere in this area. Or, at a bare minimum, I would think that you're up around your all-time highs. It's really hard to say where it's going to go. By the end of the cycle, I'm very confident that B3 will see a 100x or more, that we'll see a 20 cent price or more. I'm anticipating that the gaming sector in crypto is going to take off. And when that's a hot thing, like how DeFi is, like how AI is right now, that's when we'll see B3 really come alive. I think this will be a leader in the gaming sector for crypto. I really do. It's a very special project. I think it is. I don't get how it's so cheap. We're going to look back. We're going to look back at it up here. We're going to be like, I don't understand how it was so cheap. I don't know how people let it go by them, right? This thing it's actually really cool, I think. But just because I think something's cool doesn't mean that it's going to go up, right? There's plenty of projects that I thought are cool, and they are cool, and they had all the right things. They weren't scams, they weren't Ponzi's. The team did a good job, and they just flopped. They just flop. I don't think B3 is one of those projects. I think that it's a good project, but I've been wrong before. I can be wrong again. And the reality is, we're talking about 20 cents here, 26 cents. We're just scratching the surface. You've got such a low market cap, man. We could see this thing see some crazy, like you could go above $1. You're not even worth 25% of a penny. We're talking about a price. You could go above $1 by the end of the cycle. Crazy things can happen, man. Absolutely astonishing things can happen, right? You don't believe me? Just again, let me show you guys Not that Telcoin and B3 are completely different cryptos. They're completely different cryptos, but they're cryptos nonetheless. And I doubt that anybody on December 21st of 2020 was expecting that Telcoin 4 months later, or I guess 5 months later, would have done a 453x. That's what happened. It did a 453x in 5 months. It's October now. I think that the end of the bull market's going to be in April or May. So November, December, January, February, March, April, May. That's 6 to 7 months. We have a lot of time left. This is crypto. If a good project with a low enough market cap gets realized and something happens, some bullish stuff starts to take shape, you can see crazy, crazy stuff happen in a very short amount of time. And a 600x is a little bit more than a 450x. That's for damn sure. But it's possible. It's probably the limitations of what I would give this thing, up to $1.30. I feel very confident in that 20-cent price and above, and we'll see it happen. We'll see it happen probably by the end of the cycle. That's my expectation. So very opportunistic moment right now for B3. Very opportunistic indeed, especially in the midst of all this mayhem. I have high hopes for B3. We'll see how it goes. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Good job, XPR. Good job, B3. I think you'll be ones to watch as time goes on by the end of this year and certainly by the end of the cycle. Take care. Bye-bye. See you on the next one.